Welcome back to Valencia. I'm Nick Harris, sitting alongside me, Matt Burt, down in pit lane, Dylan Gray. It's the final showdown.
The final front row, Lorenzo Marquez, Pedrosa, row 2, Aleix Espargaro, Cal Crutchlow. Technical problems mean he'll have to start from the back of the grid. Bradley Smith in 6th place.
Third row of the grid coming up. It's Andrea Iannone, the top Ducati, Pol Espargaro and Andrea Dovizioso. 4th row, Danilo Petrucci, Maverick Vinales, double winner here. Michele Pirro, also a winner here in Moto 2.
Row 5, Bradl, Barbara and Loris Baz. Row 6, Nicky Hayden on his farewell appearance in MotoGP, ahead of Yoni Hernandez and Alvaro Bautista.
Scott Redding, Jack Miller won the Moto3 race here last year, and Mike D'Ameglio. Row 8, Amp West, Eugene Lafferty and Tony Elias. And what about this last row, Matt?
Brock Parks, and yes, your eyes are not deceiving you.
Here is the front row. All the talking, everything that has been said. And here is poor old Cal Crutchlow having to start from that back row after a mechanical problem with the LCR Honda. The final warm-up lap of the season. The final showdown of this extraordinary 2015 MotoGP World Championship. Who will be champion? Valentino Rossi or Jorge Lorenzo?
GP World Champion. It's all on the line, all to play for in the next 43 minutes or so. Lorenzo versus Rossi.
Final word with you, Dylan. Conditions look per 600 journalists from all over the world. This is the sport.
Tension builds inside the factory Yamaha garage. Can Jorge Lorenzo become only the 3rd rider in MotoGP history to overturn a points deficit coming in to the final round of the championship? We're about to find out here in Valencia.
Valentino Rossi takes his place on that back row of the grid. Jorge Lorenzo is already there in pole position. 30 laps, 4 points. 0.005 kilometres, 2.489 miles. The talking has stopped. The championship will now be decided out on the track.
And it's a dream start by Jorge Lorenzo from pole position. Look at Valentino Rossi streaming up the inside down into the first corner. It's going to be 99 Lorenzo though that leads the way from Dani Pedrosa, who's come through from the second row of the grid. There's Rossi trying to find his way back through the field. He's already up the inside of a few riders. Rossi now at the inside of Loris Baz at turn number 2. Lorenzo though leads the way. Rossi sinding his way through the field.
Wow, it's coming through there like a knife through butter at the moment. Pedrosa up the inside of Marc Marquez. Lorenzo, though, has got the dream. He's going to change. 1 lap gone.
Rossi needs help from the Hondas, no doubt about that. Lorenzo leads over the line at the end of the first lap. Valentino Rossi then down in 15th place. He's about to move up the inside of Nicky Hayden, the 2006 world champion. Hayden will run out a little bit wide. Rossi can't find a way through on that powerful Pramac Ducati. Rossi will finally make it stick up the inside of Hayden down into the mid-Durham corner. This is where the championship was decided between the two of those back in 2006.
Oh, it's pretty hectic there, but Valentino Rossi trying to carve his way back through the field. There he is, 46. He lost the championship here 9 years ago to Nicky Hayden at the front. Lorenzo not able to get away from Marquez. I'm sure both the Hondas know they mustn't let him escape at the front.
Rossi having real difficulty finding a way through on number 68, Yoni Hernandez. No way through there as they run down on the brakes. There is no Rossi brilliantly late on the brakes. He's finally past the South American. The crowd go wild here in Valencia. All 110,000 of them there cheering on their hero. Rossi then now up into 14th place. And he's up the inside of Bautista as well. Super aggressive from Rossi. He's on the charge.
Rossi on the charge up the inside of Alvaro Bautista. There is
Rossi has been completed, and Lorenzo set the fastest lap at 1:31.416. Rossi in the slipstream of Stefan Bradl as Aprilia. Rossi picks up 1 more place down into the brakes at the first corner. Valentino Rossi now up into 11th place. He's on the fringe of the top 10. Next in sight is Michele Pirro.
He is a man on a mission. He is in the zone. Lorenzo still leads at the front. Fastest lap of the race. The Hoy Lorenzo 1:30.
Can Lorenzo get away? That's got to be the big question in terms of the outcome of this World Championship. It's Valentino Rossi down in 11th place, but he's over 5 seconds back of the. This is where he picked off Hernandez on the last lap. He's up the inside of another Ducati on this lap. He dispenses with Michele Pirro at turn number 8. This is where Rossi went down in qualifying yesterday. Rossi then inside the top 10 for the first time.
Now it's 12 points between him and Jorge Lorenzo. Lorenzo still leads the way at the front. The two Hondas hanging on. Andre Iannone has crashed out. And that means that's another place for Valentino Rossi. Iannone has crashed out of the race. Now it's 12.
Iannone down at turn number 12. He gambled to run the asymmetric front tyre. We were worried about it overheating on the right-hand side. Was that the issue for the factory Ducati man? Jorge Lorenzo has put in another fastest lap of this Smith in those first 2 sectors. So Rossi chasing down Smith for 8th place. The gap now under 0.8 of a second. Here is Lorenzo heading for the 2015 MotoGP World Championship as it stands.
Field. Here we go. There's Andrea Dovizioso, Aleix Espargaro, Pol Espargaro, Danilo Petrucci, and as Rossi got past Bradley Smith, listen to the crowd. You know he has.
Yeah, Rossi's been brilliant on the brakes going down into that turn number 8. He picks off Smith. That's where he took Hernandez. That's where he took Michele Pirro. The gap now 10 points between Lorenzo and Rossi. Are the Hondas, though, going to run into those front tyre issues? Is Marquez and Pedrosa's right-hand side of the tyre going to start overheating? We'll find out very, very shortly, because the gap between Lorenzo and Marquez, Lorenzo's eked it out again to just over 4.5 of a second.
Next on Valentino Rossi's shopping list, and he has to tick off, is his great mate Danilo Petrucci. Of course, finished second to Valentino Rossi in that rain-soaked British Grand Prix at Silverstone. They race down towards turn 1. 24 laps to go. Another epic MotoGP battle in front of 110,000 people here in Valencia. Listen to the crowd. Rossi through on Petrucci, who runs it wide. Smith goes through as well.
Yeah, it didn't look like he had to work too hard, did it, for that move on Danilo Petrucci. Petrucci had a good long look over his shoulder. Rossi then through into 7th place. Pol Espargaro in 6th. He's about 1 second clear of this battle for 7th place. Petrucci ran so wide into the mid-third corner at turn number 2. Bradley Smith was able to sweep through as well. Lorenzo, this lap number 7. Valentino Rossi has already picked up 0.4 of a second on Pol Espargaro on that Tech 3 Yamaha. Here is Lorenzo, the second. Lorenzo marginally quicker again on that last lap from Marquez.
Here is Rossi. There's still a long, long way to go. There's still 23 laps to go. We're not even anywhere.
It's being headed by the factory Ducati of Andrea Dovizioso. Well, there's less than a second now, covering Dovizioso in 4th, down to Rossi in 7th place. We're on board with Rossi through the Angel Nieto corner. Now, this is where Rossi's been really strong on the brakes, down into turn number 8. He's not going to be close enough to strike on Pol Espargaro on this lap.
He can really do his chances a great deal of good. There's 3 in front. He's got to snaffle them up pretty quick. He's closing on Pol Espargaro all the time. Down through turn 11, little short straight, then that left-hand kink at turn 12. Where will he make his move? Here we go, turn 12 now, up through 13, over the rise they will come. And Rossi closing on Pol Espargaro all the time. Now, can he get a run down the start and finish straight, down into turn 1? Yeah, the factory Yamaha against the satellite Yamaha.
This is where Rossi will be looking to...
We ride with Valentino Rossi. Lorenzo's advantage at the front, coming up to around 0.7 of a second. Dovizioso, Aleix Espargaro, Pol Espargaro and Valentino Rossi still running in 7th place. Can he get up into 6th? We ride with him. This is where he lights it. He's up the inside. Listen to the crowd. Valentino Rossi has passed. They touch. Him and Pol Espargaro touch elbows, but Rossi has made his way through.
Well, he had to be aggressive coming from the back of the grid. That's exactly what he has been. Valentino Rossi, he picks up 1 more place, and for the first time in this race, Rossi inside the top 6. Here we go, this is that move at turn number 6. Antoine Espargaro a little bit wide. Espargaro, you can see clearly Rossi was on the inside there. It was a hard move, but it was a fair move, no doubt about that. Cal Crutchlow, of course, who had to start this race from the back of the grid after those technical problems. He's just got himself up into the point-scoring places. Espargaro down to turn number 8. This has been his favourite overtaking spot in this race. Is he close enough? We know Aleix Espargaro is a real demon on the brakes. We know that Suzuki's got phenomenal braking stability. It's one of the sweetest handling motorcycles on the grid, and Rossi as yet has not been able to find a way through by on that GSX RI. Can't find a way through there at turn number 10 either.
Through turn 11 he comes, Rossi so close to the Suzuki. Up to turn 12, here comes Rossi, right leg out, can't do it just there. Then they flick it left, over 13, 8 points between them as they come through 13 into 14. Rossi surely will make his move as they come out of here and drag down towards turn 1.
Rossi's Yamaha should have the legs on the latest Espargaro Suzuki, but Espargaro got great drive coming out of that final corner. Can Rossi close up? Here he comes out of the slipstream. Rossi's got the inside line. He'll make that move up the inside of Aleix Espargaro. He runs it a little bit deep. Espargaro takes 5th place back.
Oh. Still 8 points between them, and they cross the line. Marquez has pulled back another 1/10 of a second on Jorge Lorenzo at the front. There's Dovizioso, there is Aleix Espargaro, and Valentino Rossi is through this time, and the crowd go wild, and this time he has made it stick. Coming out of turn 5 up towards 6.
Number 5. So Rossi then up inside that top 5. He's got Andrea Dovizioso just ahead of him on track. Jorge Lorenzo is still leading this race. The gap's come down a fraction by 4/10 of a second now. Marquez is trying to close that gap back. He's picked up a couple of tenths on the last lap. Dani Pedrosa has upped his pace on the last lap, actually. Pedrosa just set a personal best lap of the race. He was 4/10 of a second quicker than Lorenzo. Back with Rossi.
Rossi closing up on the Ducati of Andrea Dovizioso. What a battle these two had. The opening round of the championship in Qatar. Little did we realise where this championship would be going. Here comes Rossi, not quite close enough. Get the drive out of here. Down the start and finish straight they come. That Ducati has got a lot of grunt, as you can see. 7 points separate Lorenzo and Rossi. 18 laps to go, and the gap at the front, nearly half a second between Lorenzo and Marquez.
Of that Ducati coming out of turn 6 and turn number 14. He's a great late breaker, is Andrea Dovizioso. Not late enough though to hold off Valentino Rossi. The crowd go absolutely crazy in the background. Rossi then inside the top 4. The gap down to 7 points. That's the advantage that Rossi had coming into this race. It's now back down to 5. Very rarely cracks under pressure, does Lorenzo. Will he be able to survive this pressure cooker atmosphere, this pressure being exerted by Marc Marquez? They're about to come and complete the 14th lap of this Valencia Grand Prix. It's Lorenzo just from Marc Marquez.
I just want to get there, will be world champion. Is that correct? I want to make it absolutely.
He's well clear of Valentino Rossi in 4th place. Not enough though for the 36-year-old to wrap up that 10th world title. Nearly is piling the pressure on Jorge Lorenzo. Watch this start earlier on from Valentino Rossi from the back row of the grid. Lorenzo got the dream start from the front row. Rossi got a brilliant launch off the line. He was obliterated away from Tony Elias, from Brock Parks. He's already up the inside of Eugene Laverty. There's Jack Miller on the outside of the track. Scott Redding peeling around the outside as well. But Rossi had already picked up at least 6, 7, 8 places on that drag down to the first corner. And for the first time in this race, while we watch this start replay, the gap between Lorenzo and Marquez is just over 2/10 of a second.
Can the Hondas bring the 14 longest laps of Jorge Lorenzo?
3. His slowest lap of 1:30. Will Marc Marquez come through to take what would be his 6th win of the season?
Well, one thing just to mention, obviously with Jorge Lorenzo's pitboard, they're advising him where Rossi is very important, but also on Rossi's for motivation. It doesn't say any names in there, but right next to it you have P4 and P1, so he also knows all the time where Lorenzo is and also how far the gap is.
Yeah, they're not telling him where Marc Marquez or Dani Pedrosa is, are they? What a shot to get involved in a cat fight with Marc Marquez in the last few laps.
Yeah, the last thing you need with the World Championship at stake. Just to get into a bit of a dogfight with Marc Marquez. Now a three-way fight for the victory. What a second half to the race for Dani Pedrosa. You can hear a pin drop here in Valencia. There's 111,000 fans here. They are silent.
Not a word is spoken. Mouths are open. People just cannot believe this battle. Here they come once again, onto the back straight, onto the front straight. Lorenzo crosses the line. 2 laps to go. 2 to go. Marquez has not made a move yet. Pedrosa is right up there with them. The World Championship will be decided in 2 laps of the Ricardo Tormo circuit here in Valencia.
The rear tyre of Marc Marquez. Is Pedrosa going to make a move at turn number 6? He's not quite close enough.
This is amazing. This is motorsport at its very, very best.
Dani Pedrosa's taken second place from Marc Marquez. Marc Marquez tries to fight back. Lorenzo out a little bit wide. Marquez back up the inside of Dani Pedrosa. The 2 Repsol Honda men fighting. This is music to Lorenzo's ears while they're jotting it out. Lorenzo's away at the front. It's 2.5 miles of Jorge Lorenzo's career coming up. The final lap of an incredible 2015 MotoGP World Championship is underway. Will it be Lorenzo? Will it be Rossi? It's all about Marc Marquez. Number 6 through the kink at 7. Lorenzo's not going to come under attack from Marc Marquez. He's ridden a perfect final lap so far as the number 99 through this tight, twisty infield section. No way through here for Lorenzo. Lorenzo's going to take the championship, surely.
Up through 9 and 10 for Jorge Lorenzo. Half a lap to go. One hand on that World Championship trophy. Now he dips it into turn 12. 2 bends to go.
Jorge Lorenzo standing on the brink of his 3rd World Championship. Dani Pedrosa's out of this. Lorenzo is going to come through the final corner. It's Lorenzo's now to lose.
Jorge Lorenzo will be crowned the 2015 MotoGP World Champion. 99 wins here in Valencia.
2015 belongs to Jorge Lorenzo. Joy and jubilation on one side of the factory Yamaha garage. It'll be contrasting emotions on the side of number 46. Valentino Rossi comes over the line. He put up a great fight, but Rossi is not the world champ.
Rossi crosses the line. 2nd in the world to Jorge Lorenzo. Enormous applause of Valentino Rossi. He actually could have done no more than what he did.
The championship slipped through his fingers. He produced a brilliant last lap, did Jorge Lorenzo, to win that World Championship. His 7th win of the season, and for the 5th time in his career, the 3rd time in MotoGP. Jorge Lorenzo is the king of MotoGP.
Champion, forget the shenanigans. He's won more Grand Prix than anybody else, and that was the ride of a world champion. That also was a ride of a world championship. Brilliant, brilliant performance by Valentino Rossi, but he has lost his championship crown to this man.
5 points was the difference at the end of a remarkable
rider who's been behind on points has come through to win the World Championship. Commiserations to Valentino Rossi. He really could have done no more.
Well, you're not going to see more contrasting emotions on the 2 sides of that factory Yamaha garage.
And Marc Marquez fans as well.
Hector Barbera there, sporting a number 1 because he has won the Open Class Championship. Barbera, he finished outside of the points in 16th, but with Lois Baz down in 19th. Barbera is the top Open Class rider in 2015.
Listen to the reception for Valentino Rossi. He could have done no more.
He knows that 10th World Championship has just eluded. He is a worthy world champion, no doubt about that.
Smiles from Valentino Rossi and a thumbs up. He could have done no more than what he did. It was a brilliant ride. crowd will be supporting him. I really hope, though, they give Jorge Lorenzo the reception he deserves when he stands on that top.
Commiserations from Valentino Rossi's army of supporters. As Nick said, he could not have done anything more. He was on the back foot. That grid penalty, dropping up to the back of the grid after all the controversy in Malaysia. He fought his way through to 4th place to Jorge Lorenzo.
They're on their way home. Well, on the way home, I think they're on the way down the start-finish track at the moment, aren't they? It's like he's found his feet now, hasn't he, Jorge Lorenzo?
Yeah, he certainly has.
I got us a GP.
We'll just run through a couple of stats and facts about Jorge Lorenzo. He's the first Spanish rider to win the Premier Class World title on 3 occasions. He's the second most successful Spanish rider of all time now after Angel Nieto. Incredible as well, he's the first rider in Premier Class history to win the World Championship, having not finished on the podium in the first 3 races. Of course, you forget, don't you, after it was such a difficult start to the year for him, wasn't it?
Have a guitar with that helmet trouble.